What's up, world? My name is Allen Rossum, and I am a father. We're going to ride together.
And I'm excited to have a conversation with former Falcon Allen Rossum, NFL great.
You know, I know you're one of the best kick returner, punt returners to ever play the game.
It's a rainy day, or if you just do not have the opportunity to go outside for whatever reason, you can do a small exercise program right next to you.
I am father.
Back against the wall, head still high, push through it all. Father am I, lead by example, but still I gotta follow. Value your seeds, let's promise them tomorrow. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father. Forever I stand, it's never to be a bother. Forever I'm man, forever I'm father.
My name is Allen Irvin, and this is I Am Father. Hey, this is Allen Irvin, and you're watching I Am Father. And me and Allen Rossum here to talk about fatherhood. What's going on, my brother?
Yes, sir, man. If anybody know about fatherhood, it should be me and you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You take the boys, I got the girls. Now what?
Absolutely.
Then we take over the world. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, man. We got to dive into that because I want to get your perspective on raising girls, man.
Woo! See all these grades? I'm 25 years old, man.
You got dynamic girls, man.
Hey, well, thank you very much.
You got dynamic girls, but we share that in common. We share a name in common.
Yeah, and you know what the name means.
Absolutely.
Handsome
Noble
and fair.
and handsome.
I'll take the handsome. You take everything else. I'm gonna take the handsome.
Right.
At least that's what my mama tell me.
Right. Hey.
She called me every day and remind me.
Webster told me too. Webster, Miriam.
Yeah.
Hey, they said, listen, you handsome, boy. I said, okay.
Yeah,
what my
man.
name say.
Yeah. I'm gonna start calling you Shab with the grade. You got the whole thing going.
Hey, you know what though? I went to a Halloween party last year at Shab.
I bet you did.
Might have been Robert Roundtree because I had the long trench black coat.
Oh yeah.
You know, Samuel had the red coat.
Yeah, when you just talk loud, you Samuel L. It don't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, raising girls is awesome, man. It was
Yeah.
one of the most humbling things I've ever experienced. Got them at a young age. To me, it's young. It's in my mid-20s. And I just never looked back. I just wanted healthy kids. And I came out with twins. Well, I didn't come out with twins, but we came out with twins right off the bat. And then we
You said a young age?
Yeah.
How old were you?
25, 26. That's young, isn't it?
25, 20. Oh, now let's tell the people about you, man. Cause
I'm
I'm
really
25, 26.
Yeah, I'm really 46. I just turned 46
Yeah.
less than 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Grew up in Dallas, Texas, youngest of a whole bunch of kids.
Okay.
And, decided to go to Notre Dame.
Okay.
Went there, played football, ran track there.
Yeah.
Finished.
Made a new name for yourself.
Made a little name.
What was it?
I didn't make it. It came out. It came up in. I had a little nickname, Rossum Background.
Rossum Background.
It started in about the 5th grade. I was doing.
Really?
Yes, started in 5th grade.
I don't know why I thought it was birthed in Notre Dame.
No, it just followed me. So it followed me throughout middle school, high school, and someone came up and asked me about any nicknames. I said, well, when I was younger, they used to call me this, and here's why. And next thing you know, it spread around campus, and then I started returning punts and kicks, had a lot of success doing that. So every time I literally got on the field to return a punt or a kick, the entire class, my school class in Notre Dame, would start clapping and screaming, Awesome Rossum. And then I happened to score a lot. I scored 9 times, and the rest is history.
Now, you were at Notre Dame. Were you there when the Rocket and Ishmael, the Rocket was here?
So that was the 80s.
That was the 80s?
80s, early 90s. I was there in the mid to late 90s. No, but Rock and I are really good friends, man. People say we favor. I didn't think he was this handsome because his name is Rahib and not Allen. So let's just start that. But
That's
he's a good friend of mine, as well as Tim Brown. They all live in the Dallas area where I'm originally from.
That's right. Tim Brown did go.
Yeah. Okay. So they're all good friends of mine, man. But I'm behind. I came after them, but they set a great precedent for me to follow and to follow in those footsteps. But it was easy to look up to gentlemen like that who excelled on and off the field. So I call them my big older brothers. They're great examples of that.
That was a great launching pad, man, because you went on to go to the NFL at that, right?
I went on to the NFL for 12 years, but before that, I graduated from Notre Dame early with 2 degrees.
Okay.
And with 2 degrees, computer science and business marketing. marketing.
Really?
I tried to get finance, but they were tripping. And now they
You
allow
tried to get
kids
three?
to get 3 degrees.
Really?
I think I started that. But yeah, so
That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
man. So I took my education very seriously. A lot of people don't know, but I guess you do. I'm not the biggest man in the world, especially playing a big man sport. So I wanted to make sure that I focused on my education. And then have a little fun playing on the field and run a little track as well. But yes, I played 12 years in the NFL, and now I reside in Atlanta, Georgia. Have 4 wonderful daughters, been married 20 plus years to the same woman. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
You know?
So you guys started early, around 25 when you first got the twins, right?
Yeah, so I was 26, and we had twin daughters.
So when did you go in the NFL?
I was 22.
Really?
I was 22 in the NFL, and yeah, I mean, it was a great time in Philadelphia to be young in the NFL. But I tell you what, one of the most humbling and the greatest things that I've ever experienced has being a part of childbirth and you know, and raising kids and rearing children, because it was something that I needed. Every time I got to a point in my life, God always placed something in me to either humble me or to slow me down. Of course, there were many when I was younger, but the first that I can recollect like that is going to Notre Dame, leaving the atmosphere that I was involved in, the friends that I was around, and making that mature decision, and not to go to school with any of my friends, but just branch out on my own, and then which helped me become the man that I am. After that, you know, thinking I'm God's gift to everything, being drafted high, accomplishing a lot in college, and then now I'm in the NFL, was to have my, I say have, but we had our twin daughters, and just knowing that someone else depended on me solely was just like nothing else. It wasn't like another adult who was calling me, asking me for something, or just needed some advice. These young ladies needed me to feed them, to bathe them, to change their diapers, and that was very humbling to me. And
so you were able to do that in the NFL?
Yes. And
were you able to be that type of father in the NFL?
Oh yes. So my wife went into labor when I was down. I remember it's like it was yesterday. We were down to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa, and I got a call, and she was saying like, she's in labor, but it's in November. The babies were due.
Now, was she in Texas at that time?
She was in Green Bay.
Okay.
So she was there. They put her on bed rest, and she refused to officially be on bed rest. She was coming to all the games and doing all that stuff. So literally in early November, she literally we had a Monday night game that Tuesday. She went on bed rest until the end of the year, and then we had the girls. They sent us home after New Year's, so we spent. When I say you'll understand. So we spent Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's in a hospital. So I say we because since she was on bed rest, I literally slept there every night, and then I went to work in the morning, went home, changed clothes, came back to the hospital. So, you know, I kind of got a PhD as well. Every 4 hours they waking me up. But it was something that I would never change.
I bet, man. That sounds like the road less traveled.
It is. It almost seems like a
that used to be
daytime
my
movie.
favorite book, The Road Less Traveled.
The Road Less Traveled. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do that. You know,
and it started for you at a very young age, man. Now,
Yes, it did.
Fatherhood starting that young. How did you learn fatherhood?
Wow, I guess you could say I learned the good and the bad through my family and through my friends.
Okay.
I guess fortunately or unfortunately, my parents were not married. So my dad had 11 kids, my mom had 7 kids. They got together and had me. So literally, I'm really the only child. So seeing and growing up with my nieces and nephews and seeing how other people raised their children and seeing how I was raised, I got a chance to just take a step back and then consciously and unconsciously make decisions about how I want to be a father or how I want to be a man in reality. So I literally watched by and learned by osmosis. So when it was my opportunity, whether it worked out with their mom or not, I just wanted to be the best possible dad because that's what my dad was.
Absolutely.
And he always gave me great advice, always looked me in the eye, and always gave it to me like honestly or straight, as they say, or raw, or whatever you want to say. I don't know what the kids say nowadays.
Right.
But that's what he always did, man. We always had real serious conversations, and when I almost flunked out of college, we had one then. You know, and then after that, I was on the dean's list and wound up graduating early.
Were you going through something at that time?
Yes, I thought I was the man. So you get to Notre Dame. You're on TV every week. You're playing a lot as a freshman. You're an All-American as a freshman. I run track. I'm an All-American in track. My sophomore year, I'm starting. 18, 19 years old, and you're going to all these wonderful places, and everybody's putting you on a pedestal.
Yep.
And I forgot about some of the things that got me there. My diligence, the due diligence that I put into work of studying and just being a master of my craft, working out harder and longer than anybody else. That's what got me there, and I kind of forgot about that. I also forgot about the off the field, because one of the things that I always excelled at was in the classroom. And I honestly took it for granted, thinking that, it's just like high school. I don't have to study as much. Well, college is a lot different, because there's a lot more distractions. No one is waking me up in the morning telling me, hey, get up and go catch the bus or get to school. So now you're kind of on your own. You're a young adult, and even my coaches were not saying, hey, make sure you're in class until you get a progress report. So those were things I had to adjust to. And I think that if I would have went to any other school, my good friend Peyton Manning, if I would have went to school with him, I probably would not have excelled as much as I wanted to. Or if I would have went to Florida State or some of those other schools that I looked at, I probably would not have excelled as much. I kind of needed that step back of someone that's saying, no, we're not going to do that. If you want to do that, then this isn't a place for you. And that's kind of what I needed.
God have well directing your path, man. I remember when I actually majored in computer science as well.
How about that?
At Alabama State University. And I just posted something because I remember vividly walking down toward the equinox during the time. It wasn't the freshman year, it was the sophomore year when you really had to start going into your major. And my dad wasn't there the way my uncle was there. So my uncle took me down to Alabama State, and he majored in criminal justice. So, I'm leaning toward criminal justice because he's always been like that father figure in my life. So I'm walking down and on campus and going to this big equinox. And if I go to the right, I go computer science. If I go to the left, it's criminal justice. And I went to the right, and I remember it because I feel God told me to go to the right. That's where it's going to be, and that's where you need to be.
So you had a literal fork in the road.
Yeah.
And that's how life is, though, honestly. Because I guess it does depend on how you're raised, but eventually you're going to have to make a decision. I went to school with a lot of well-off people, and they made the wrong decision. They had everything laid out for them: education, great parent, or I don't know if they're great parents or not, but they had 2-parent homes, great home upbringing where they went to the best schools, and here they are in college making the craziest decisions that you would ever imagine. And here you have some kids who haven't had anything but appreciate everything. You understand? And so they saying, okay, I'm not going to waste this opportunity. I'm going to maximize it. And that's what I as you know, we have a youth track club, and my daughters all ran track and field. And that's one of the things that I push them more than anything. I want to raise and bring out the holistic athlete, because we are more than just athletes. And ironically, when I went to Notre Dame, I was actually an electrical engineer. So I went to Notre Dame with college credits because of my high school, and you do the dual residency or whatever, or occupancy or whatever they do. So I went there with
You were smart in high school.
Oh, I was killing it in high school. I was probably somebody's worst nightmare, because I was an inner city, well-educated young black man, and I spoke well, or I could go in anybody's hood and blend right in. So, and I was still all me. There was nothing different about it. I just adapted to my situation. I never conformed to anything. Whatever even when I left Texas and went to Notre Dame, it's freezing up there. I didn't, oh my God, now I'm an Eskimo. No, I just put a jacket on and I adapt to the weather. And the same thing when I went back home to Texas when it's 105. I just adapt to it and then change my clothing. So that's how I look at life. I feel that I can work with anyone as long as you're willing to work with me. Now, it does not change me who I am, and I don't necessarily always give you what you give me, but even if we don't see it eye to eye, we have a common goal, I'm willing to work with you.
That's good stuff, man, because I see that in you. One thing I did want to bring out, we just talked about your twins. How many daughters do you have?
I have 4 daughters. My twins are 20 years old. I have an 18-year-old and I have a 15-year-old. So I have 3 kids in college.
Okay.
And they're all scattered.
Okay. So the oldest is that Abby?
Everyone calls her Abby.
Okay.
And her name is Avion. She
Avion.
started out at Notre Dame, my alma mater.
Okay.
She lasted a semester and said, Dad, it's too cold.
Really? So where
yes,
is she now?
She's at University of North Carolina, which fits her. It fits more of her major. It fits her internship. It fits all of those things.
And then the other twin is...
The other twin is across the other side of the country at Stanford.
Okay, Lex.
Yeah, so Alexa is still running track. Avion decided to give it up, and that's fine with me. And ironically, it's funny, right? So I've been my kids' coaches since whatever sport. When they did tennis, I was out there learning how to, I was the Venus and Serena daddy, you know. And then when they played soccer, I was Pele. It didn't matter. I conformed to whatever they needed. And when they decided to run track, it was finally something that I knew about as a youth, even when I was racing in the street, taking my shoes off. So it was things that I was able to tell them that I learned from, to me, one of the greatest Olympians ever, other than Usain Bolt now and Allison Felix, which in my time was Michael Johnson. So Michael Johnson and I grew up in the same area, went to the same high school, even had the same high school track coach. So when he came here for the Olympics in '96, he was back at our high school training. And he dared anybody to work out with him. And I was the craziest and probably stupid, but the best decision, one of the best decisions athletically I probably ever made.
So he ran the 400 though?
He ran the 400 and the 200.
Okay.
But what I learned from him was a work ethic, because I was already fast in my own right. But as a sophomore, I ran 10.7. After working out with him,
Sophomore?
As a sophomore.
Wow.
After working out with, I'm sorry, as a freshman. As a sophomore, after working out with him, I went 10.11. And then a junior, I went 10.02. So I led the nation in that, and then I led the nation in the 200 with 20.3.
Wow.
So everyone thought, oh, he's going to run track. And I was like, no, I'm just doing this for fun. And honestly, it was a lot of nice looking girls there, and I'm like, cool, I'll go out there for
So that's
for the
Abby
festivities.
and Alexi.
And then Trinity.
Then
And
you got
Trinity runs
Trinity.
track as well. And the benefit Trinity has had is kind of like the benefit that I had of having older brothers and sisters that play sports. If I'm 5 years old, I got to play against the 10-year-olds. So Trinity has benefited from that, and she has excelled at the same age faster than her older sisters. And now she's at UCLA.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
she's
that's good
out,
stuff.
you know, out on the beach, out in LA, Hollywood, Bel Air. But it fits her personality. And that's the best thing about the decisions that the girls made, that every school fit their personality and not what I wanted or the mom wanted or the third cousin.
Gave
or the
them an
best
option
friend.
to choose where they wanted to go.
Right. And we were afforded the ability to take them to a lot of places. Even during the COVID time, we're able to fly around and see different universities. And because we also have a youth track club, whenever we go to nationals or travel out of state, we'll go visit schools, whether they want to see the school or not. So when we were in LA, we visited Pepperdine, UCLA, USC. When we were in Sacramento, we go out to Stanford, Cal Berkeley, or wherever the case may be. So I've always just wanted to broaden their horizons. That was one of the best things that happened to me playing sports. I was able to see
That helps.
different things, and it wasn't just my inner city community where there isn't a lot of hope. Like, wait a minute, I can go do this and I can do that. As people look like me doing that, and I think that's a benefit for playing sports. And
Now
I
you got
always try to
one
do
coming
that.
out the nest now.
Woo! Yeah, she's 15. She is my CSI FBI computer hacker is what she
Really?
wants to do. So
Okay.
she don't know that I still got all those computer coding books, but we sent her up to Georgia Tech, and I did an event with Usher some years ago and got all the girls involved, but she's the one who has taken to the computer coding and things like that. But she calls it hacking.
Ah, hey, we need her now. Instagram accounts getting hacked and all that. Well, let me ask you, man. So, been in the NFL 12 years or 11
12 years.
12 years. How hard was that? How hard was it to be a father when you wasn't really present during away games?
Woo. So that was really tough for me because I didn't necessarily grow up with my father until I was in high school.
Okay.
Then when I was in college, and then when I get to the NFL Combine, my father passed the night I get there. So all of those things are going through the back of my mind as my girls are getting older. So, every 6 months, I think we moved, whether we had a house here, a house in Texas, or in California, or Green Bay, or whatever
So
the
was that
case may be.
homeschooling?
No. I just, my wife just dedicated that time of her life just to make sure that the girls were good. And so they traveled with me everywhere I went until I left here with the Falcons. So when I left here with the Falcons, this was a great place to raise kids. So we bought a house here and we kept them consistent with schools and their doctors and things like that. And then when after my 12th year, or really even prior to my 12th year, I knew I was going to retire. And I had a great 11th year, and I told the coaches, like, look, this is my last one. This is Michael Jordan last one, or whomever else. Lou Williams says his last year. It was the same thing.
Right.
And they tried to talk me out of it a number of times, even offered me a 3-year contract. But my thing was, it's time for me to spend time with those girls. It's going to sound cliche, but I didn't want another man spending more time with them at this time, meaning their coaches or their teachers or whatever.
Right, when they get a particular age.
When they got a particular age. And, when I played in the NFL, they were a lot younger. But as they get into those teenage years, there's a lot of impressions that are there, even in young males as well. So I always just wanted to be careful about who I allowed my kids to be around. And if I was afforded the opportunity, I would be that person. And as long as I didn't get on their nerves too much.
That says a lot, because Gabe took Trinity to homecoming.
How about that?
Ninth grade. So that said a lot.
So, but that tells me, well, that should tell you what I think of you.
Yeah.
Because although kids come around a lot of times, depending on who the kid is, what type of fifth degree I give them, and how they're raised, and what type of upbringing they have, or how is their father? How are they being raised by their father, or even by their mother? And are the kids respectful? Now, I know every kid, as soon as they leave the corner, they probably listen to Tupac, Biggie, all mixed into one, and that's cool, because I used to do it when I left the church, and it's all good. But I also, if they are smart enough to say, hey, look, I can adapt to the situation, I'm in front of her parents, I need to clean my act up a little bit, then I give them the benefit of the doubt.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you gotta allow them
the bad boys out the door.
Definitely not. But I allowed them to say, hey, look, they're a kid, they can mature at their own rate and at their own level. I never, even with my daughters, I never demanded that one daughter act or perform like the other one. I never pitted them against each other. I trained them differently, and I disciplined them differently depending on their personality and what they needed.
But even the twins, you can look at them. I look at them.
They're
completely different.
Yes. I'm going to tell y'all a joke, and this ain't even funny. So I used to take the girls to the mall. So the twins were 5, Trinity was 3, and we had a newborn. I used to take them all to the mall by myself. Crazy, first of all. One person told me and thought that I had a kid by 4 different women. Because all of my girls look different, totally different. Asian, Puerto Rican, white, black, whatever.
They're different, though.
They are different.
4 of them are different.
Yeah, they're all different, and they're all. And one thing that I wanted them to do was just be the best you. You know what I mean? Don't try to live your life for me or your mom. Now we're here to guide you. We're here to give you advice and things like that, and to discipline you and to hold you back or to push you further than you want to be. And then ultimately, my job for them is to eventually take them out of my quiver of bows, pull them back as far as I can, and shoot them as far as they can go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Answer this for me.
Yes, sir.
Being in the NFL, how did you win Fatherhood of the Year?
So it was an award that I didn't even know existed, and Susan Bass from the Falcons brought it to my attention because I was doing so much in the community, and they saw. I mean, every time you turn around, my girls were at practice, and like as soon as practice was over, I was going over giving them hugs, and they were racing to me of who's gonna give me the hug first. And so she nominated me, and next thing you know, I'm at the White House with the president, vice president, and a whole bunch of 2 other people, and they gave me a very nice award. So that's probably, I've won a lot of MVPs and Pro Bowl and all those things. That's probably my most cherished award.
Yeah. Hey, fatherhood is a big one.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Ethan is my boys. Ethan is the smallest one. People try to compare him. I was like, look, completely different. And I think you got to raise them differently as well, because my oldest one, Quincy, he got more whoopings than Gabe. Gabe got more whoopings than Ethan. Right now, I can really just talk to Ethan.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So with girls, how is it that they're different in your house? How do you father them differently?
Well, it actually goes back to how I was raised. And because I had so many older siblings and they got in so much trouble, I never wanted to be in trouble. So my siblings thought I never got in trouble, which I probably never did, being a baby. So when I started raising and rearing my children, I realized that how I spoke to them and how I disciplined them affected them and how their next day was, their next moments were. So then I started looking at unconsciously how their personalities were different. Even though they were all raised in the same households, same parents, same everything, we didn't hold back, but they were different. So I said to myself, okay, well, if she responds to this way, and she responds this way, here's how I'm gonna talk to this one or coach this one or whatever. And that's literally what I did. And even with our track club now, I do my best to do that. But even with the twins were probably the hardest because they were
your track club?
ATL Zoom Athletics.
Okay.
I'm based here in Atlanta. Just a little quick segue. I think we're a very successful program. For our 5th year in a row, we have 100% of our kids going off to college. We have kids
That's pretty good. 100%?
100%.
Wow.
If your kid comes to our program within that full year, we just had a kid come to us in March and get a full scholarship in July who did not have a scholarship. He's at Boston University and it's $77,000 a year and he's got a full ride.
Wow.
So any kid that has been through our program for a full year, or if they've gone through 2 years, it's not automatic, but so far within the first 5 years, they've all gone off to college. And some of them have continued to run, and some of them have decided not to. Even with our program, you have to maintain a certain GPA. And even when I spoke on it earlier about raising a holistic athlete, that is what we do with our program as well. We do a whole bunch of community service projects. We have our own nonprofit within our club that the kids run.
Okay.
We just elected our new president and vice president as the seniors graduated out. And the kids, they bring up different initiatives, but our main initiative is to help out the homeless. Not to eradicate it because we can only do our part. But say for Thanksgiving, we have a canned food drive. For Christmas, we collect gloves, socks, we make sandwiches, and we go pass them out. We literally walk around all downtown just passing out stuff to people who
That's good stuff.
that are homeless. Blankets, jackets, gloves, whatever we have collected. And then in the summer, which is cool, I think it's cool because we collect hygiene kits and we pass them out to the homeless as well. So we literally will park at the MLK Center and then walk to downtown, past Ebenezer and all of that, right down it, and then we would go there and pass all this stuff out. So it's very humbling. And pre-pandemic, because we didn't do it last year, we had over 300 volunteers there. And 100 of them were not even a part of our club. So somehow it had gotten out. So, but that's a part of what we do. So are we going to work hard? Yes. But then we'll rent out a skating rink and we'll skate for 2 or 3 hours as a club. We'll go out to Six Flags together. We'll rent out a movie theater and just go there and watch a movie that everybody can watch. So we do a lot of those things. We compete a lot, but I also don't want them to be enemies because iron sharpens iron. And if I see you slacking or lacking in something and we're trying to achieve the same thing, I should be able to pull you to the side and be like, yo, Al, man, look, you slipping on this part. Why don't you try this right here? Or, hey, why don't you come work out with me? Hey, man, here's what I do to stay hydrated or to stop from cramp. So those are the conversations that we have amongst our kids and even with me. All the kids can communicate with me at any time on our group chat. Like today, we adjusted one of our workouts for some of the kids because they could not make the 6:30 practice. So all of those things were really birthed by my kids, my daughters, because they realized that track is hard, track is restrictive, you can't eat this, you can't go there, you can't go there. So how can we keep fun in it? And with their personalities, I took all 4 of their personalities and then started broadening and expanding it. So they're a big part of it.
Yep. I can see that, man. You've been a track coach. Do you at times find yourself playing a role of a father to some of the athletes?
Oh, yes. And I've been told probably 7 to 8, 10, 20 times that I am there, like either they're standing dad because he's not there, or second father, or, I would probably say if we had 100 kids, which we haven't because we haven't been around that long, go off to college, I would say 80 to 85 of them have asked me about which college they should attend. even yesterday, a young lady who's a junior got a letter from a college, and she was so excited. And she was like, what should I do with it? I said, you should fill it out and respond back to him. You know, so, and she has a dad who's active in it, but just understanding the role that we play, whether we want to or not, these kids are looking and trusting you. And that's another one of our big components of our program. I got to be able to trust you, and you got to be able to trust me. Even with my daughters, when I was raising my daughters, for example, and they got caught in a situation, I'd say, hey, look, you got two choices. Either you could tell me the truth or you can lie to me. But if you tell me the truth, there's a good chance I'm just going to be like, hey, don't ever do it again. Or you can still get in trouble. But if you lie to me and I find out, then you're 100% going to get in trouble. So that allowed them to start saying, okay, I'm going to take my chances. Because 50% is better than, because I know I did it. And I know he know, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it started opening up our relationship.
We do know.
Yeah, it started opening up our relationship. But I mean, I'm going to turn it around to you. Raising boys, because I've done my best to try to raise some nephews, and it's been tough. Like, they have to go. Now, here you are. You got older kids, now you got one more. So how has that been with you of raising males in today's world?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the same way in the perspective of they learn from each other, right? So Gabe learned a lot from the way that I used to discipline Quincy, right? And Ethan learned a lot from the way that I used to discipline Gabe, to the point where I remember him saying one time, I don't want Daddy mad at me the way he was mad at Gabe, you know, because, and I don't even have the energy anymore. So I'm glad he the last one.
Yeah.
I don't have the energy anymore to be raising my voice. I don't have the energy anymore to be, damn sure don't have the energy to be whooping nobody.
Or wrestling nobody.
Sometimes, you know, I put my belt around my neck and walk in the room.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this right here. After they have been in that state, or, oh my God, he's upset with me, how do you get it back to normal or to a better portion of your relationship? Because it's got to grow from that. You got to either learn, you got to learn from that.
Time. I let time, and when I say time, I'm talking about a day, you know, a day, or if it's something that happened earlier that day, by that night, we probably going somewhere, get something to eat. I'm acting like it perhaps didn't happen. I bring it up and let him know it's a lesson to be learned in this, but keep moving forward. Don't harbor on it.
Yeah.
And that's just been what's working for me. And what they see in that is, you know, I got in trouble, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
You got in trouble, but you were honest about it. Everything came out, and never happened again. I think coaching plays a role, and I did another segment, right, about coaches. You know, I had Coach Apple and a lot of different coaches on, because I think every new father, well, I wouldn't say every new father, but a word of advice is, if you want to learn fatherhood, there's some skills from coaching you can put in your fatherhood toolbox. Because for one, you got girls, different personalities. Not only because they're different kids, but they're girls.
Yeah.
They get emotional.
Yeah.
So you got to learn about that. So you coach track girls. So you know you got to approach them a little differently.
Yeah.
So I think coaching actually put some tools in your fatherhood toolbox. How has coaching made you a better father?
Well, that is a great question, and the best thing for me is there's a couple different layers. So when a kid is in trouble with me or for not doing the right thing, or even my daughters, I handle it then, and then like what you said, I act as if it has never happened. And then, but I remind them, the only way that I'm going to remember what you did is if you remind me. But if you don't remind me, I will never bring it up again. So, in other words, it's kind of like our Heavenly Father. We ask for forgiveness and then repent, right?
That's good stuff.
So that's where I kind of got that one from. And then when I got to college, even though we don't see eye to eye on some things, and that happens in any relationship, Coach Holtz taught me this. Here I am, an inner city kid with all of these well-to-do people at this private institution where there's only 7,000 kids there. and has this huge endowment, and all these people are going crazy over all these people. What he recognized in me was that I was different from a lot of other kids, and that if he took the time to get to know me, then I would give him more than I ever thought that I could. And that's how I started returning punts and kicks. I was a quarterback in high school, went there, was playing corner, starting and playing as a freshman, playing and starting as a sophomore. And he says, hey, can you return a punt? I said, yes, anything like catching a pass. The first one, 25 yards. The second one, 75 yards for a touchdown. A year and a half later, I have 9 touchdowns and an NCAA record. And that was just because he just recognized something in me that I did not recognize. And he knew that he could not get in my face and talk to me how he talked to some of the other people, because I would shut down and just be like, all right, deuces, I'm out. And I knew all he had to do was talk to me about, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. Here's who you are. And that's how Trinity is. My daughter Trinity. I don't get in her face and be like, Trinity, you better. I say, all right, here's what we're going to do, Trinity. Here's what we're going to execute. Now, Alexa's a little different. She needs a different type of coaching, and Avion needs a different type of coaching, and Talia needs a different type of coaching. So
Alexa is more like you.
Yes, Alexa's definitely the militant one who has caused a lot of trouble, and Trinity is that kind of the same. She's more of the producer, and Alexa is out front. Now she's just not as verbose as Avion, her twin, because they're one talks a lot and one doesn't. But as far as action and getting things done, that's kind of how they are. And that's, just some of the most influential people in my life have been my coaches. Because I didn't grow up per se with my father until I got to high school. And then by the time I got a chance to really know him, he died the night I got to the NFL Combine. So that relationship is a little fractured a little bit. So the person who helped me with all my recruiting, you said was your uncle, was my brother, my oldest brother. And we were 16 years apart. So he helped me with all of those things, taking me here, taking me there, and they drove to every game, So those are the things I just cherished. And probably during the pandemic, I called them. I got them all on a chat, on a conference call. And I literally just thanked all of them because I played every sport, man, and I don't know how they did it. Thank my mom, thank my sisters. I'm thanking y'all for being patient with me. Because look how my life has turned out. It would have never have done that if I didn't have the support from you guys. And y'all sacrificing what y'all sacrificed for my behalf, whether I knew it or not, whether I appreciated it or not. Because sometimes when you're young, you don't appreciate what your parents are doing for you. Sacrifices that you don't see it, right? Yeah. So I just wanted to thank them. My daughter's at Stanford. I called her track coach, who's not even at Stanford anymore, and thanked him because now she's in the Olympic trials. And you were the first one to reach out to her and say, hey, look, I'm going to offer you a full scholarship to come here. So those are the things, as a man, I think we should be able to do. I should be able to not only disagree, but I should also be able to thank you man to man, face to face, and tell you, man, I think you've done a great job raising your boys. And that's why your son was able to take my daughter to the dance as a freshman. Because I appreciate those type of things. And one of the hardest things to do for a man having daughters is to allow some other man to hold her hand or, now I'm passing her off to you. And that's literally what I do when you drop them off at a sporting event, or in this case, drop them off at college. Now they have a college coach, so that's the way I look at it, man. But it seems like I talk a lot, but I observe a lot. The little things about people, and I know everyone still has flaws, and that's cool because I have a ton of them. But I watch the little things of how you respond or how you react, or how passionate are you about your kids? Are you showing up at practice? Those are huge things for me when I see a father at practice. That's just like, woo, that's tight. I love it.
Gotta be present, man.
Man, I love it. I know the moms in our club is probably like, he always talking about the dads. But that means something to me when I see a wave of fathers up there at the top of their practice. And I told the moms, or I told the team, I said, to me, that is our hedge of protection. No one, if you gonna come to this practice, you gotta come through those dads first. And so to me, that means a lot. They up there just hanging out doing whatever, don't even think about it. Yeah. But they don't know what it looks like to me looking up. And because usually I'm the only protector, but now I got support. Yeah. And what can we do if we team up together with the same mindset?
That's right.
We can take over the world.
That's right. That's right.
Man.
That's right. One thing I hear though, man, is you know, when coaches instill it in you and the things that make you move forward just based on how the coaches think of you. One word come to mind, and that's belief.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
It's different, and just like the fathers, you know, but when a coach believe in you,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like that's all you need to go to the next level. I remember
Man, you speaking the gospel, bro.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
When I was playing basketball in high school, way back then.
Back with John Naismith, the original. All right.
My coach, man, one thing that really stick to me this day is he believed in me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the same for a father. But I think coaches play a huge role. And that's why I heard from host to you.
Mm-hmm.
He believed in you.
Yeah. And I've used that Jedi mind trick with my kids. The only reason I say Jedi mind trick is because at different times, Alexa's won like 7 national championships. Trinity's won like 5 of them. And at every time I had to use something different to get them to believe in themselves, because sometimes you have self-doubt. It creeps in. Do I really belong here? Oh my God, I'm not feeling well, you know, or whatever the case may be. And I've had to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't even know the difference of the two, but I'm sure my wife does. But I've had to use those things in order to get them ready to go. And that's the same thing that was used for me. After my freshman year, Coach Host brings me into the office and says, okay, I know your good friend Peyton, y'all want to go to school together, so I've called Tennessee. They said they will accept you on the full scholarship. Wow. I called Penn State. Joe said he'll take you. And he's called Michigan. I called Stanford. All the schools that I visited. And I said, well, Coach, what makes you think I want to leave? He says, obviously you don't want to be here. I said, well, why you know, but what he was seeing was, one, if I really wanted to be there. It's cold. From Texas, ain't a lot going on at Notre Dame, and but what he got from me from that day was a rededication, because I was sleeping in school, you know, and I dedicated myself not only on the field, but I rededicated myself off the field. So although I switched majors from engineering to business, and then my junior year I picked up computer science and still graduated early, and then took an internship with the governor during all of that time. It was well worth it for me. And that conversation there, and the conversation I had with my dad at the end of my freshman year, changed my entire trajectory in life as far as education and how much dedication I was going to have of saying, man, I'm an athlete. I should be good. Yeah, I can just major in anything. And instead, I said, no, this isn't promised to me. I am going to make the most of it, because that's what my dad said. He says, hey, look here, you have never made below a B. You have 2 Ds. You almost flunked out of school. It's not like you. What's going on? And I told him, I was like, man, it's easy. They got me this philosophy class. You know, I just had a whole bunch of excuses. But the reality of it was that I just needed to refocus, get in line, get through this first part of college. And that's what I did. So I just started taking classes all summer. Going into my senior year, internship with the governor, so I was down in Indianapolis. In my senior year to graduate, I took 6 classes, and my advisor told me I was crazy. Why would you take 6 classes during the football season? And I said, well, my dad challenged me, and he didn't even know it. He challenged me to do better, and he didn't even know it. He just had a conversation with me, but what I got from it, and maybe that's what he meant, but he didn't say those exact words. I took it as a challenge. And one thing you don't want to do to me is challenge me. So I took that to heart. So I graduated in December, and my dad died February the 4th. So what if I would have waited? What if I would have been like, oh, no, I can just go ahead and take these classes whenever, have 2 classes. He would have never saw the one thing that he wanted me to do beyond sports, was graduate. Sports was cool, but his thing was like, dude, sports come and go. Man, don't waste your time there. I cannot afford to send you to school there. At that time,
that was fulfilling for him.
It was $25,000 a year to go to school there. Now it is $77,000 a year to go to school there. And he was just like, I cannot afford that, so don't waste it. And ironically, I was the only one drafted of my entire class, and half of our class was kicked out of school because of grades.
Wow.
And I went there to be around like-minded individuals and wound up finding the same people. But I was in that fork in the road, just like you were at Alabama State. and I had to make a decision. Am I going to get myself together or am I not? You're a great person. That's why I came out here. You've always been cool with me. Another reason, you've always been genuine with me. That's another. It's so many facets of why I'm just like, all right, I'm going to drive from Lovejoy. I'm going to get here at 1 o'clock. I'm going to go grab me something to eat. I'm going to chill. Then, dang it, now I'm running late, but I'm still going to stay here knowing that I got so much other stuff to do only because of the person that you are.
I appreciate you coming, man. I know you're a busy guy.
Yeah, but as my father told me, he told me this. He told me a lot of things, man. Oh my God! And I try my best to pass on to not only my kids but other kids. He told me that you'll find time for what's important to you.
That's true.
So if it's important to you, find the time, and then juggle everything else. You know what I mean? So that's why I made this.
That's a true statement, though.
During that adverse time for my daughter Alexa at Stanford, you know, they had a transition at coach as soon as she got there. And I had been really her only track coach who had coached her to a lot of success. And we have a great trust and rapport with each other. And so every day she was calling me. And I'm just like, Alexa, you got to give him an opportunity to coach you. Allow him to coach you. I said, there's a reason that he's there. And the coach that you loved and had all this rapport with, now he's off to being a head coach somewhere. And it took a moment. And when she finally let her guard down.
When you say a moment, how long is that?
About a year.
Because that was the whole year.
Yeah, because that was emotional for her. Now, so imagine you being 18 years old, you going off to college, the guy who recruited you first, and all these other schools are coming at you, and you still with that guy who recruited you first, and as soon as you get there, matter of fact, before you get there, there's a coaching change. And now, coaches who have never recruited you, well, they did recruit you before another school that you politely told them no. You were just like, I don't know these guys and I'm not their person. But here's the craziest thing. Her legendary coach is J.J. Clark, who coached the 800. He coached all these Olympians in 800. And he says, man, there's one thing about your daughter I remember. I was coaching at Connecticut and I was recruiting her hard. And she said, Coach, it's just awesome that you recruited me, but I just want to tell you right now, I'm not coming to Connecticut. And he thought the world of that because kids will lead you on, knowing they ain't going to school there. And he thought that was so cool. But one thing I always told my kids, hey, look here, if you think you want to take a shot at it, keep it open. But if you know right now that you're not going to go there because everyone's recruiting budget is different, say Alabama State's recruiting budget is totally different than Alabama. All right, so don't put Alabama State in that situation if you know you don't want to go to school there. Right. Because their budget is a little different. Allow them to recruit a kid who wants to go there or needs to go there or whatever the situation. And so that's what I've always taught them. And so here she is, having a little tough time, had gotten injured in high school and had never really healed because high school track is high school track. And they just run you to ground. They just run you, man. And I've always been a coach of, I always err on the side of caution. Quality is better than quantity. And so I always cut down the reps in the summer, and we always had a lot of success like that. So here we are. She's at Stanford. She's having an injury. She's got, not having the best year. She has a hamstring at the first indoor meet. And all I told her was, here's what we're going to do. I mean, and I said, here's the best thing about this, Alexa. Look how many coaches from other schools came over to check on you. So no matter what day you think you're having, you're loved, kid. Not just by me and your mom and your sisters, but other people are watching you. So you're an influence whether you want to be or not. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing is you're going to be fine. This is a blessing in disguise. Now, let's get stronger. Let's get ready for outdoor. Girl gets ready for outdoor, changes a couple things, starts running unbelievable times, okay? And even though she started training because of injury and because of California during COVID, she wasn't able to train till like probably the end of January. And here it is, June and July, 4 months later, she's running with Allison Felix, all of these unbelievable athletes who run crazy times. And here she is in the Olympic trials. And I told her, I said, all that adversity, all that heartache, all that crying, all that wanting to give up, now it starts to make sense. And now you start understanding why, whether I coach you a certain way or why you had to go through something for a moment such as this. And this is something that you will never forget. And the reason I said that is because she qualified for the Olympic trials in the 100 and the 200. And she was going to drop one. And I said, sis, here's what we know. We're not going to drop anything. Because you don't know what that next day is, and you don't know what the opportunity is. And even though you love the 100, you're actually better in the 200. So let that 100 be a warm-up for your 200. And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened with that, man. But that was one of the things that I learned from my dad and some of my other coaches. I mean, I even had a coach when I was in high school. I got injured. I had a hamstring injury after running crazy, ridiculous times. And I come up to state, and I'm having a little confidence issue because the guy who had been beating me all year is in state, and we probably had 3 or 4 of the fastest kids in the 200 at my state meet in Texas. That's how Texas get down. And here I am in the finals, and the kid who was projected to win had just went 45-1 in the 400. Lord. And he's right in front of me. I'm in lane 3, he's in lane 4. And my thing was, man, I don't know if I could just outlast him, because I knew he was going to be strong.
What event was this?
It's the 200.
Okay.
So my coach comes up to me and says, man, this race won't even be close. I said, man, you don't have any confidence. He says, no, if you make up in your mind that you're going to win, this race won't be close, man. So make it up right now. You put in the work. All you got to do now is just make it up in your mind that you want it. And that's what rehashed that for me, because you were saying that when a coach believes in you, it just makes you, now you're Superman, now you're an incredible Hulk. And at that moment, I needed that, because my parents and my family couldn't be around me. And only my coach could be around me. And that little slight of word, whether he was true or not within himself, that meant the world to me. And here I am winning the state meet by 7 meters when I thought I couldn't even be in the top 5. And so that's what I try to capture with kids all the time, whether it's kids that I don't know, or whatever the case. If I am in their life for a sentence or a minute, because we're all in each other's lives for a moment. Some people are in your life for the entire book. Some people are in your life for a chapter, or whatever the case. If you're looking at it from a book standpoint. So I just try to empower, encourage people, and then empower them to do the best that they can, be the best you can.
It goes a long way when they know that you believe in them as a father and as a coach. Really, really believe in them. But question I have for you, as a father, from the perspective of a father and a coach, your seniors that's graduating, do you tell them to go to a particular college because of the coach or the program itself? Because the coaches are recruiting them, so it's hard not to get attached to the coach. But do you tell them, is that part of the decision on going, the coach? What's most important, the coach or the program?
Neither.
Okay.
I tell the kids what I told my kids. We're looking for some core principles. Education. Do you see yourself being at this university if sports didn't happen? Meaning, when COVID hit, could you see yourself just going to class, even if it's online? Are you cool with that? The place or the location where the school is, do you want to live there afterwards, or do you feel like you should come back? And then we start talking about program or coaching. Now I tell them those are our core principles, and the only thing I'm going to tell you is that the coach cannot be number one, because coaches come and go. Right. And USC just found that out now. Now she's now the head coach at University of Georgia. My daughter Alexa found that out at Stanford. Now he's the head coach at Boston University. And ironically, that is the gentleman who gave the kid who came to me in May the full scholarship, even though he had only been there for 3 months. Now the kid deserved it, but also because of relationships, right? And so I tell them neither. You go there, you go there and see if you gel with the other athletes. What do you think of the campus? Do they have your major, which is big? Yeah, that's big. Some schools you can't go and do science pre-professional. You can't go for film and television, which is a big major right now. You can't go for that. So you got to I look at the holistic part of it, and then it's a bonus of, oh, they're a great coach. Now, I also tell them this. Make sure that once you're looking at the coach, make sure that they train the way your nervous system has been trained. Really? Yes, because certain universities train the way that ATL Zoom trains. and I could round them off. LSU, Texas A&M, UCLA. I mean, they all train the same way that we train, how we train our nervous system. So it should be seamless once they get there.
Wow.
The only difference is that they are lifting more than what we lift right now. Because right now we're lifting 2 to 3 times a week, depending on who you are. And then in college, they're lifting 4 times a week right now, if not 5, and during this time of the year. So, and they have 5:30, 6 a.m. Saturday workouts, you know. So those are the big things right there.
Point. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, also personality. All the kids, when I do Zooms with universities, I have 20 or 30 kids on there, or I do it with my kids. I always have them ask, hey, what kind of coach are you? Are you a hooper? Are you hollering? Are you cursing? Or are you just sitting there stoic like Tony Dungy saying, all right, here's what we're going to do. All right, go do it. I'll see y'all later. You know, what type of coach are you in the stands? Do you have a bullhorn? Are you really coaching, or are you just telling me what to do? Are you telling me why I'm doing it? And I even tell the coaches this, when my daughters were being recruited, I said, I'm going to tell you right now, I have spoiled these girls, meaning I've allowed them to ask any question that they want. Because if they are confused about something, then I need them to ask, because I only want it one way.
I think that's important with girls, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So in a respectful manner, not interrupting the coach, because you cannot talk while a coach is talking. Matter of fact, I don't even allow the kids to stand beside or behind the coach. I tell them, if you do not have a car note or a mortgage in your name, you cannot stand beside or behind the coach. You have to get within his view where he does not have to use his periphery.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so we do that with our track club, but I started out with my girls.
Hey, so being the father that you are, being the athlete that you are, with your whole journey, what advice would you give future fathers that's coming into fatherhood?
Cherish every moment. I remember holding my twins in my hand. They were not even bigger than my hand. I'm getting choked up about it, because I know, you know, what we went through to bring them here. And then they blink and they're 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so I remember those things, man. I would say cherish the moment, man. And then just understand this right here. Don't major in the minor. Get some core things that you're not going to bend on. You better be in this house at a certain time. You better not be doing things that married people do. You know what I mean? Those type of things. But other things I let slide. Okay, you relate. All right, cool. Don't do it no more. All right, you kind of took the car and I didn't ask you to, or whatever the case. Whatever you're going to bend at it. But then let them know and understand that there are some core things that I am not bending at.
Yeah, you bend but don't break.
Yeah. And so what that tells them is that, one, that you're human. And that you're not at fault, because you were also once that age, you know what I mean? And I think the more you are relatable to people, then the more rapport and trust that you would have, even with your kids. Because even when I'm raising my kids or training them, I look at it as, all right, if we work together, I think we can get the most out of each other. I can become a better dad, you can become a better student, child, athlete, whatever the case. So I always say, hey, what do you guys think? I have no problem making a decision. I can make a unilateral decision. This can be a dictatorship, but right now it's a democracy. So what do you think? What do you think about whatever? What the school that you want to attend? What makes you want to go there? Or this guy you thinking about dating? Why? Because every guy who came to my house, I made them sit in the office with me and explain to me why they would want to date my daughter. And I had a long list of questions that I asked them.
Wow.
Of why my daughter? Why not anyone else?
So you did the sophisticated bad boys. You ain't stop them at the door. You brought them in the office.
Well, some of them, I left them out on the porch and turned the lights off and just make them sit out with the mosquitoes. So I've done different approaches. Just really just kind of depends.
You did what? You left them outside, turned the lights off in the dark.
Yes, I've done that. And I've even had kids come in dressed inappropriately as males should not dress. And I had them step back out and I politely close the door and I said, man, go change your clothes or pull your pants up and then come holler at me. So as any male would know, when they come to my house, there's one thing that I demand of every young male when they come to my house. Find the other male of that house. And you introduce yourself or you say hello.
That's true.
And when you leave, you acknowledge that male and say, all right, I'll see you later next time. And now I don't even have to say it. This must be passed along, because kids come over right now, they'd be like, hey, where's your dad? You know, so, and I think the girls probably let them know also. But what I'm trying to do is to, one, let my daughters know, one, what to expect. accept and not accept. You cannot blow your horn outside my house and expect my daughters to come out and just run out. It does not happen.
That's girls and boys, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Even my kids always bringing their company. I could be outside, like, Dad, this is my dad or what have you. I introduce, they introduce them to me. And
See, I think that's key also, even with males, because they need to see a strong male figure of what it should look like. And we should do our best to emulate that as much as possible, even though we have our flaws. And if I think that they see us with our flaws and how we respond and how we react in our flaws, it will make them a better young man or future husband or male. Because everything that I saw flaws in others, I'm just like, oh wow, man, that's cool. I don't have to make that mistake. Thank you.
Moment.
Thank you for blessing me with you making that mistake for me. You know what I mean? But that's the way I look at everything. You either learn from the mistakes of others or the mistakes that you make. I'd rather learn from your mistakes.
Right.
I even look at that from business.
That's the reason for this podcast. Because, people learn from other people's testimonies. So you testifying about your journey of fatherhood is going to help somebody.
Yeah. I totally agree. And just imagine how many people have actually poured into me to help me get here. So that's why I'm just like, I'm always, I'm always a hand up. I'm never, I'm either trying to push you beyond me. I think in every aspect of our life, we should have 3 levels of people in our life. People that have done beyond you, people that are on your level, and the people that are below you, meaning that you're mentoring. Because at every level, no matter how successful I've been, whether in the NFL, I've done tremendous things in business, I've always had a mentor. And I've always had people on my level that I'm trying to bring along with me. I don't want to do this by myself, come on. And I've always had people that I'm trying to get to my level or get beyond me. So right now, I'm trying to get my kids beyond me.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
True.
Just think about
levels,
it.
Yeah.
Just think about it.
That exists.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Unfortunately though, we also have people who want to push you down and keep you there.
Oh yeah.
And only give you this glass ceiling, right? So what I like to do is break through those ceilings. So right now, I'm trying to start an NIL for this app, but I'm only turning it on to college students, preferably athletes. And even when I hire, say you were there for an interview, one of the main questions that I don't ever interview people, but if you come to my office and you're a new hire, I'm be like, hey, what sport did you play? If you tell me that you played a sport, it does not matter. Tennis, soccer, swimming. 1, I know you're competitive, hopefully. 2, you can handle both success and failure because that's what sports teaches you.
Yep.
You can go from that high and that low and have to get right back in the pool or get right back out in the play or go guard Michael Jordan one more time because he just dunked on you, but now he's got the ball again, right? And you can't come out the game. So that's what sports teaches you, is those ebbs and flows of life. And if I know that you can deal with that at the highest level, at the most competitive state, I know that I can work with you. And if we get in that foxhole, we're going to ride together.